Hello there, welcome to another Saturday deck flip through. So I thought for the next few weeks I'd take a look at some older Pauper decks I've got kicking around. I don't even know if I ever featured these in a previous video or not, but I found them sort of skulking away, if you like, in a box, and there's 4 of them. And today I'm going to have a look at the Goblin deck. So this is a mono red Goblin deck. This is so all the cards in here would be legal in Pauper, so they've all been printed at common at some point in Magic's history, and I'm not quite sure when I exactly put these decks together. I know it's possibly sometime in the early 2010s, and it was a result of an article I read with a whole list of decks, and I decided to build 4 of the decks that were on there in paper. And I think it was at a time when Pauper was just starting to get popular. So, and at that time I think I was also listening to a podcast called Pauper to the People as well, so that was around. So yeah, so let's have a look, see what we've got here. So first up, Goblin Arsonist. So I'm going to go through in, on the curve. So 1/1 for 1, and when it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may have it deal 1 damage to target creature or player. So let's count them off here. So I've got 2 copies of that. Goblin Bushwhacker. It's a 1/1 for 1, but it has kicker. So you may pay an additional red as you cast a spell when Goblin Bushwhacker enters the battlefield. If it was kicked, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. And for that we have 4 copies. Another 1-drop, Goblin Cohort, 2/2, but it can't attack unless you've played a creature spell this turn. And we have 4 of those. Goblin Sledder, so 1/1 for 1, sacrifice a goblin, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So we have 4 of those. Then we've got these Mog Conscripts, 2/2 for 1, and they cannot attack unless you have successfully cast a creature spell this turn. So, yeah, sort of more of the same, I suppose, because the Goblin Cohort was very much like that. Yeah. So it looks like that's Goblin Cohort was a functional reprint. And there are, surprise, surprise, 4 copies of that. Mog Raider, another 1-drop, 1/1 for 1, sacrifice a goblin, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So, yeah, that's a functional reprint of the Goblin Sledder we saw earlier. And 4 copies of that. So we're still on the 1-drops, which is really funny. And then we've got lightning bolts in here. And there are 4 copies of that. I thought it would be interesting to have the old school artwork, so I was able to get hold of some white border ones, which are substantially cheaper than the originals. Okay, we've also got some Reckless Abandon. So as an initial cost to play Reckless Abandon, sacrifice a creature. Reckless Abandon deals 4 damage to target creature or player. So we have 4 of those. And then we've got these Mog Flunkies, so 1 and a red, 3/3 for 1 and a red. And yeah, another thing with a condition on it, because you're like, how are you getting like a 3/3 for a 2-drop? So with this, it cannot attack or block during a turn in which no other creatures you control attacks or blocks. And there are another 4 of there. Then we've got Mog War Marshal, 1 and a red, 1/1 with Echo, 1 and a red. At the beginning of your upkeep, if this came under your control since the beginning of your last upkeep, sacrifice it, then unless you pay its Echo cost. When War Marshal comes into play or is put into a graveyard from play, put a 1/1 red Goblin creature token into play. Then we've got Sparksmith, so 1 and a red, 1/1. Tap it, Sparksmith deals X damage to target creature and X damage to you, where X is the number of goblins in play. So 2 of those. Hissing Iguana, so 2 and a red, 3/1. Whenever another creature is put into a graveyard from play, you may have Hissing Iguana deal 1 damage to target player. And we've got a single copy of Teetering Peaks. So that, enters the battlefield tapped. When Teetering Peaks enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Tap, add red to your mana pool. And then we have the mountains in here because it's mono red. And you can see I just chose an older set with the original sort of pre-modern borders there, and managed to track down each of the pieces of artwork for that particular set. Is that Invasion, I think? I picked it because I particularly like this artwork. So there we have it. Thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in a future video.